As for the regulations themselves, the Lincoln County Health Department need not announce they are coming. If you deny them access, their documents state they will call the sheriff. That these unelected bureaucrats come onto someone's private property with no evidence of wrongdoing is so wrong. It should be us following the sheriff on that and not the other way around.
There's no document that I've ever seen that says we'll have the sheriff's department come out if you don't let us on the property.
I do have that. I'll be happy to share it.
I'd be happy to see it because I don't.
That last week.
And then
I too, Joe, the very first documents that we received from the county did make a statement that the sheriff would be involved.
Yeah. That's what it said last week.
Mr. Ryan, I thank you very much for your comments, but you're completely wrong in commenting on the property. That is my piece of the planet. You're wrong also in saying that small business people have to accept that inspectors coming on. When you operate a business, you assume responsibilities, and one of those responsibilities is that you have to have these inspections. And you knew that going into operating your hamburger place. But to come on my property and have my dog bite you, and then one of your employees sue me because my fence was working, and you came on and my pit bull chewed your employee up, and now I got to pay you $1 million is wrong. What happens if I'm out of town and I have people watching my property and I say, anybody comes on my property, call the police right away? What happens if I have an alarm system on my house and that sounds off and I have to pay the alarm system police to come out and check it? It's just respect, Mr. I forgot your name again, Ryan. It's just respect to come out, tell people in advance, regardless of the cost.
Currently, before 2015 was $100. So we've lowered that to 15. So if you have an aeration system, you're going to owe us $15 a year, which is essentially like $1.25 a month when it comes out. If you have a septic tank, you're going to owe us $15 every 3 years. So basically that works out to about 42 cents a month. I'm rounding up, it's actually 41.3 or something. So, it's 42 cents a month what you owe us. That's going to be for your operation permit. So if you want our department to do the inspection of your system, in addition to that 15 bucks, you're going to owe us $35. That'll be the 35 bucks for us to come out and do the inspection of your system.
We already pay the health department to do their job, but to pay you $15 more just to handle the paperwork is wrong. And you do have control over that. What we can do, though, is have the $15 waived. I don't understand. You said it was $100 and it was a permanent fee to operate. And now you're going to charge us $15 every 3 years on a septic, $15 on a aerator, plus the inspection. Now, if you're not doing any inspection, what is the $15 going for every year? That's far greater than $100 for life. $15 every year is far greater if you live, unless you only live 6 years. I guess where is the $15 going for $500,000? If you're not earning it, you're not doing the inspection, we're just sending you money.
That's right.
The issue of the fee is something you can waive and you can reduce. That's within your control.
Lincoln County citizen, glad to be here, taxpayer, and I have a septic system on my land. I maintain it, and believe me, if I don't know when it fails, my neighbors will tell me. There's nothing simpler than that, and I don't need bureaucrats to tell me I need to pay a $15 permit annually that I agree will continue to rise, it will never go away. And I too elect people in government to protect me for safety and my rights, but I don't like it when those same people use safety to extort money from me.
That's right.
I've been maintaining my aerator and septic system for 45 years. I've been doing inspections and maintenance on it. So you can understand why I don't need the health department services. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, yeah, if you're going to do it yourself, you can continue to do it yourself.
I've been doing it for 45 years.
Which is good, yeah, we appreciate that too.
If my aerator fails, I replace it.
Great.
And I have replaced it.
That's great.
Like stings when it
You're the guy who you need to take the exam at our office, it's free. Like Rebecca said, you can do it online. But I will give you the rules to do so as well. We can help with that process as best that we can. But that's all you have to do. You don't have to take it once, that's it. And when you inspect it, you need to give us a report so that we can file it.
And that's what you folks require then. From me as a homeowner, you need a report saying that I've done what you guys require.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But they're still gonna charge you $15 a year. Right?
Just hang on.
I'll do that for you, but they're still going to charge you $15 a year for that.
For maintaining my own system,
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen.
it brings up the $15 fee. Somebody asked me, what's $15? That's no big deal. Well, it's not our money, and I'm an elected official. It's your money, and I don't like taking your money, and I don't like the county taking your money. And I don't.
In these days, Americans are terrified. We're terrified of things that don't stop growing. Things like black mold, like cancer, and like government. We are suspicious with good reason of fundamental changes being forced on us that we have never voted on, and our representatives evidently haven't voted on either. And they just go along for the ride. We are terrified of being powerless in front of unelected people who have been given authority somehow to make us conform to sweeping regulations when we haven't done anything wrong. You remember perhaps how the forum you held last time, many who came to the microphone refused to give their names or addresses because they were afraid.
That's right.
Do you want us to fear you? Is this some ridiculous replay of history that you expect us to accept? The way I see it, your plan is to collect fees to ensure falsely to the public that your job has worth. You're collecting from landowners and from septic haulers, from people who can afford it and from people who are just getting by. Oh yeah, there will be subsidies, grants for the poor, which will require raising taxes on the backs of the folks who work. That's scary. It's the process here. For generations, the local health department has been on call when there was a concern about a septic system. We smelled something or we saw something, and we called you folks, you would come out and advise us. Nobody wants sludge on their property from their own system or neighbors. That's what we pay you guys for, to help us get this stuff figured out. Yes, you're supposed to work for us, but I guess now you're working for the EPA with all that federal and state money that is being funneled your way. Somehow, Americans cannot fund Social Security or veterans or soldiers, yet our taxes can fund the EPA, the state EPA, and all its various tentacles down to the local drainage ditch manager. It's the process and it's the priorities, and they're all wrong. What is next, Board of Health? Like my neighbor said, once you get this program rolling and fees are dumping into your coffers, you'll be able to hire more inspectors. So in 2017, will you be coming to inspect my insulation and my heating system and demand that I upgrade to save the planet? In 2020, will you be coming to advise me that my roof is not solar efficient? Will you ration the water that I draw from my own well? Will you? This is the kind of fundamental change, the unrestricted growth of government and regional boards and their mandates that we fear, and you're scaring me to death. Thank you.
We moved from a micromanaged condo to the country not to end up overregulated with arbitrary and unnecessary regulations. This is nothing more than government overreach and more government control. We moved to the country for privacy, and we do not appreciate nor want visitors on our property, our private property, being unannounced. Recently, we had people from meters, the meter guys come out. And they said they were going to replace our meter. And we said, is it a smart meter? And they lied to us. So who knows what lies we're going to get from the government. Thank you.
There's lots of questions about financial systems. So if we come out to your house and you don't have the funds available to fix your system, then what are we going to do? So we applied, like we talked about the last meeting, we applied to the EPA for $150,000 to try to help low-income homeowners. Went back, evaluated, talked to EPA. We upped that to $300,000. That's what we asked for. I was in a meeting today with EPA talking about that. They received, I think there's $5 million they give out, and they received $10 million in requests.
Somebody had made a comment that to replace the system would be somewhere in the range of $20,000. If you get a $300,000 grant, it doesn't take a lot to do the math on that. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say we're low income, because we're not. But we can't write a check for $20,000 either. And I don't think anybody in this room could sit and write a check for $20,000 to replace the system. We live in Pataskala. He's made it real clear that we're not going to get a sewage system. So what are the options that the homeowners are going to have unless you just choose to abandon your homes?
I would like to address that because we do track the cost. The local health district report the cost to us when they report their permit data. And the state average cost actually is $8,200. There's very few systems that cost $20,000. And we would be more than happy to provide those statistics and that data to anyone. It's public information.
Okay, can you write a check for $8,200 tonight?
Right, and we certainly understand.
I mean,
I understand.
Taxes are going up, school levies are coming on. You know, everybody wants a piece of the pie, and the pie's only got 8 slices. So where does this slice come from? I'm not going to qualify for grant money, okay? My husband's a fireman and a paramedic, and so we're not going to be below that poverty. But, you know, we pay homeowners insurance that goes up every year. You know, our taxes go up, Frank, that a plan would have to be done. And that if that was not met, that there would be fines incurred. And who's to say what I can afford? Do I have to take my budget to the health department and show debits and credits? Does he want to see my bank statements? Does he want to see my savings account?
Yeah, my name's Howard Dunbar. I live here in Pataskala Summit. I'm a home inspector. I'm going to totally change the direction of the questions in my idea here is, when I go into a home and I do a home inspection, if they're on well and septic, and a lot of them are in Lincoln County. Now, as I read this, if I do a septic inspection, which I typically do if they have one, I recommend that they do that. I charge so much to do a septic inspection as part of the real estate transaction. As part of doing that, I do a 1-hour dye loading test of that septic system, where I flush a fluorescent dye down that septic tank.
There you go.
And I make sure that I see the dye in the tank, and that I want to see it where I should see it, and I don't want to see it where I shouldn't see it. Most homes that I inspect, over half of them, do not have risers and lids. Now we have to put a riser and lid on it, and you can't inspect that tank. What you're telling me now is, as part of this real estate transaction, you're going to get a report from me saying that I'm going to tell you there's no riser and lid. Correct? Now, is that not a requirement to be able to inspect these systems?
Well, in order to service them, you have to have that riser.
In order to do the inspections that you're required, is not a riser and lid required?
I don't think there's a requirement. You'd have to be able to dig, in order to check to see if the tank needs pumped, they'd have to dig it up, which of course you don't want to have to do.
So you're telling me these homeowners are going to bury it again and dig it up every year, every 3 years?
Well, that's certainly not what I would want to do. If you got to pick up once, yeah.
So what you're telling me is, now when I do these, every seller that has a house without a riser and a lid, a riser is a way to get, it's just a tube going up to the ground level so that you can access the tank, because the tank's got to be below, it's got to run downhill out of the house into the tank. So the tank is buried sometimes 10 feet deep, right? So there has to be a tube coming up, and then there has to be some kind of a cap on a septic tank. So what you're saying is now all these people have the expense of risers and lids. That is correct, unless they want to dig every 3 years. Their service provider is going to have, you have to pay that service provider to bring a backhoe out. He's not going to come there and dig it by hand.
Yeah, it's probably in most cases that'll be true, but normally if they're gonna have a service on it, they're gonna be pumping the tank at the same time and digging it up.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up tonight. We appreciate it. I'm a veteran minority farmer. My taxes have raised about 65% in the last year. We just got here last year. This is really disappointing. You're here to protect us from this kind of taxation. We're young. We're trying to bring food to the table, and it's impossible. That's 3 bags of feed. That's not a lot to you guys, but when you're trying to get started, and you're trying to pay your taxes, and you're trying to make ends meet, and get your kids to school and fed, that's a lot. 65%. So, you know, $15, yeah, it's not a lot of money, but when you add it on top of everything else that I gotta start paying because of taxation, I would appreciate it if you guys could think about that a little bit more. I've lived in Italy for 2 years. They started taxing animals on the property when you put them out to pasture. I see a lot of the stuff coming here. Every little thing we're doing, we're getting taxed on. It's just going to add your food value. You know, do you keep wanting to get food from overseas, or do you want it to go from farm to table?
Before I work with someone, I want to be sure that the person has a fair degree of common sense and will treat me with respect and fairness. Without these traits in place, you can be assured that bad things are bound to happen. All that said, Licking County Board's original plan was to come into communities, starting with Pataska, to implement these regulations without one newspaper article, without one meeting with Pataska City Council, without any warning. Can you imagine being the first homeowner to be inspected, having the health department show up and say, "We are the government and we are here to help," and then to proceed to tell you that all the things that you have wrong and how you have limited time to get it right, or they will start threatening you with large fines and possible confiscation of your home. Talk about no common sense or respect. I have to comment on Mr. Evil saying that we do this with restaurants and other places that serves the community. There's a little bit of a difference there being a homeowner and a restaurant owner, or even a child care system. Let me tell you, the people in this country was told if you work hard and you save and you buy your home, you own that home, you pay taxes. And by gosh, the people that own these homes should not be invaded by unelected officials.
Okay, I'm Nancy Channel, resident of Licking County. I had some things here I wanted to say, but after listening to all the people here in this audience and everything, listening to the people in the audience and the comments and things, this is all part of EPA regulations. This is all being brought down by the EPA controlling our lives. They are such a huge agency and regulations. I talked to a guy the other day that has a business that he's being charged because of the water rolling off of his house by the EPA. Now that is crazy, but it's coming down for all homeowners that we're all going to be charged for water rolling off of our house and our private yards. This is all part of the EPA trying to tell us how to live our lives. They are controlling gardens, telling you can't even grow a garden and give your neighbor the tomatoes that you grow because of the EPA. They want more and more control. And also about the money. Yeah, maybe it's only $15, but if the state government wants more money, the federal government wants more money, your local government, they want to put all these fees on us. Oh, it's only $15. Well, it's a constant, more and more fees. And every time you put a fee on somebody, you're taking money out of their pocket that they're feeding their kids with and paying their bills. And this is the fact.
And the EPA has put pressure on every state to advance the green agenda. The pressure has morphed into 126 pages of regulations written by the Ohio Health Board, who then mandated every county board of health implement these septic regulations in their county starting as of January 1st. None of these people bringing you these regulations are elected. Worth noting is that Joe Abels of the Lincoln County Health Department, please correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, was on the Ohio Health Board committee. So if the Lincoln County Health Department ever says, you know, geez, golly, we just can't help it, he was on that committee. Furthermore, remember that he also said at the last meeting, at some point, if someone says they won't fix their septic, the citizen will be in front of the judge, and that is a quote. Further, except for state senate, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong in any of this. Further, except for State Senator Brendel, none of your state senators or state reps spoke out against these regs. In reality, we have no proof they even read the regulations. You will notice neither Senator Hodges nor Representative Hayes are here to try to defend these regulations. If these regulations are so great, why aren't they here to defend it? They weren't here at the last meeting either. You should be aware that Bill Hayes is running for Lincoln County prosecuting attorney. One would assume Bill Hayes, who chose not to protest these regulations, if he's elected, will willingly prosecute you. Again, I would love to have him here so he could refute any of that. I share this because on your yellow sheets is the contact information for all the folks who brought you these heavy-handed regulations. Please exercise your civic duty and call them with all your concerns. Also on the yellow sheets are a series of questions. If those questions get answered tonight, you will walk away knowing not just how the septic program works, but the legal ramifications of the program on you and your wallet. As for the regulations themselves, the Lincoln County Health Department need not announce they are coming. If you deny them access, their documents say they will call the sheriff. That these unelected bureaucrats come onto someone's private property with no evidence of wrongdoing is so wrong. It should be us calling the sheriff on them and not the other way around. There you go. If they feel the septic is inadequate, they will tell you what types of systems. Wait a minute, okay, well, start it now. Okay. If they feel your septic system is inadequate, they will tell you what type of systems you can replace your old system with at a cost of $10,000 to $25,000. If you cannot or will not comply, they can fine you up to $1,000 a day as well as prosecute you. To sum this up, a bunch of unelected bureaucrats who can't even locate a large number of the supposed 3,000 septic systems in Pataskala have been given the right to force themselves onto private property with no evidence of wrongdoing, charge the property owners fees, demand expensive repairs that may put the finances of the household in dire straits, and in the end, the septic system that the property owners will be forced to install may not even function properly. However, look on the bright side. The Lincoln County Health Department employees have permanent job security. Yes. Thank you.